Hi, hope you're doing well. Welcome to Diva Spills, where I recap and review TV shows and movies from the past and present. It's been a while and she's got a little bob action going on. It's already going out of place, but whatever. I wanted to do another movie review because the last one I did was on Barbie Fairytopia. And then I stumbled into the sinful world of short dramas. You know, the ones that you see on like TikTok. It's usually like an ad and it's like Wattpad stories that have come to life. Some like forbidden love with the CEO mafia alpha of the Bloodstone Pack. You know, one of those. Well, I've come across a gem of a catalog. As always, I do recommend that you have a beverage, whether hot, cold, or lukewarm, so that we can have an enjoyable little bestie tea time together. Today, as usual, I've got my handy little Barbie cup with me. We gotta stay hydrated, divas. A quick disclaimer before we dive in. I'm by no means verified to be a critic. These are just my personal opinions and are in no way affiliated with anything or anyone. Putting on my glasses so that we can watch this shit in HD. So we are absolutely spoiled for choices. We have something called Rejected by My Alpha, chosen by the last Lycan King. Oh my god, 1 hour and 39 minutes. What else? What else do we have? Paper Bride. My best friend stole my boyfriend. Then I married his boss. There's a couple of like Chinese dramas as well. Also AI. They're so long. There's like 1.5, 2 hours. There's even a 3-hour one. Jeez, do people actually watch these? Apparently they do, because Accidentally Married to the Mafia Boss, his long-planned favoritism forbidden love story, has 1.3 million views. Must be good. Some of these titles are really taking me out, man. A tapestry of love and hate intertwined with life and death. What the hell does that even mean? You know, the thing about these AI short dramas is that when I do see the few clips on TikTok, I mean, it looks ridiculous, but you never know. I mean, the plot may be good, right? I highly doubt it, but this is a good opportunity to see it for myself. I found one that is maybe a little bit unusual because it's out of the werewolf realm for once. It's called Claimed by the Dragon. I don't know how twisted this may be, but we're doing it. Okay, so it starts off with a man. He looks like he's in pain. He falls into the ground. He's on his knees. The narrator says that for thousands of years, dragonkind stood unmatched. They faced their gravest threat ever. Their king is cursed. Okay, and somebody who looks like regal, maybe the queen or something, walks in with like a bunch of girls. She says that the new batch of untouched full moon bonds have arrived. And he comes out of the water really creepily. He's naked. I saw butt crack. Okay, this lady is like his stepmother. Okay. Whoa. I can't show that. I was not expecting that view. Basically they're undressing. Had to take a moment for sanity. I was not expecting that my first ever short AI drama would have that. Continuing on, they're stepping into the pool where he is, and there's smiling. His stepmother is watching this, and she's smiling. Oh, okay. But the minute one of them steps into the water, they get burnt. I guess the water is boiling hot. Now, our cursed Dragon King, he is now dressed with a robe. His name is Asher Draven. They showed the name of the mother, but honestly, I did not catch it because I was too shook by that whole untouched whatever, you know. He asks all of them to get out. He sits in his reflecting pool telling his stepmother that if the curse isn't broken by the next full moon, clearly something bad is gonna happen. His stepmother tries to, give him a reassuring pat on the shoulder, but she gets burnt when she touches him. His stepmother tries to reassure him, saying that, don't worry, we'll find her. Her being the one to break the curse. Can I just say that we're only 1 minute and 21 seconds in? And I've already had enough. So as he's woeing about his predicament to his stepmom, one of the servants come in and they say that they missed a girl. from the initial lineup. Here's the thing, from the initial lineup, there was like what, 4 or 5 girls. Only one girl stepped into the pool and got burned. The others didn't even give it a try. So how would they know if they missed the girl or not? If not, everybody's giving it a try, right? And then we're brought to a scene where there's a girl wearing some type of garment. I'm not really sure how to describe what she's wearing. It just looks regal. Her name is Alina Moss. Now she's lying down on a pillow in a boat and she's restrained. She's struggling. She's trying to get out, obviously. She's in some place called the Sacrificial Coast. Her stepsister, her name's Selena. She has stolen Alina's fiance, or I guess ex-fiance now, whose name is Diego. She's all vile and vicious, rubbing it in Alina's face. And she says, try not to scream when the dragon eats you, as they bid her farewell on her journey. She's trying to like plead with Diego to be like, oh my god, don't do this, Diego. And he's just smiling and laughing away, saying, don't make this harder than it has to be, Alina, as he cuddles into the bosom of whatever the stepsister's name was, Selena. So apparently the rules, according to Diego, is that to have peace, they need to give up an offering being a human girl who is, in their words, untouched. Okay, and then Diego and Selena, whatever her name is, they start making out in front of Alina. And then Alina's grandmother, missed her name, grandmother something, is trying to stop her from going, but nobody gives a shit. And, her sister says that disrupting this ritual, it's not a ritual. It is not a ritual. Nowhere did they say it's a ritual. It's a freaking sacrifice. But she says that disrupting the ritual is treason. Okay, and Alina's granny has something called frost fever. And then suddenly they're showing another woman. Who the hell is that? Random lady who now says that we won't spend another penny on this old hag. Girl, is that your mom? Like, what is this? Granny looks like she's one step from being a fossil, not gonna lie. So the entire, village, town, they're all gathered watching Alina, be rushed off in a boat. And to prove that Granny has this thing called frost fever, her hands basically just look like she's got frostbite. Then by some divine intervention, lightning, thunder, it hits the boat. A spark from a candle that was on the boat jumps onto the ropes that are restraining her and burns it out. Everybody looks up to the sky and they say that the dragon is coming. Everybody runs and Alina's grandma, who looked like she was dying a second ago, yells for her to run. Alina's just standing up on top of the boat. Okay, so the dragon is white with a fiery undertone, I suppose, and is now... That's huge! That's a huge ass dragon! So the next scene, it skips what happens on the boat. I don't know. We're in a cave. Alina, I think that's still Alina. Her head dress is taken off. She's lying down on some rock unconscious. What the hell is the Dragon King's name? I can't remember. Asher. He's just standing there. And what a beautiful girl. And he's just hoping that she's the one to break his curse. Okay, now we see a flashback. She's having some nightmares about how the dragon basically destroyed her entire village and then took her with him. In her sleep, she unconsciously reaches her hand out and grabs his hand. She does not get burned. She does not move away. He's wondering if she could be the one. Yet no shit. She wakes up, she's like, who are you? He says his name, that's it. She introduces herself. She thinks that he was taken by the dragon as well. So she doesn't know that he's actually the Dragon King. Okay, is that where the plot is going? And then she gets spooked by something. She looks up and what is that? A dinosaur. She goes towards it and she pulls him back. So she holds him and she tries to pull him back. And so where his fiery veins are, when she touches it, there's this cold blue spark that is emitted, I guess to neutralize the heat. And he realizes that she's the one. She is his mate. Something that I'm realizing in these AI dramas is that they show what the person is thinking out loud. He scares the dinosaur looking thing away by making his eyes change color into that dragon eyes. And then she gets spooked by him and she's like, what are you doing? And she gets backed up into a wall. So she pushes him away and he's like, don't you recognize your own husband? Child, she has not even met you before. Okay, so then she realizes he's a dragon. You know, she's shook. I don't really know what he's doing. He falls to the ground in pain. I still don't really understand what the curse is. He says that the fire in his veins keep getting worse. So what is the curse? The curse is that he has fire in his veins. He's a freaking dragon. She helps him up because she's probably, you know, a kind maiden and all that. She touches him. It quietens the pain in his body. And then he twirls her into his arms and then he kisses her. That was quick. He goes a little overboard with her kissing, and then she pushes him off and slaps him. She has a dagger suddenly, and she stabs him in the heart, or presumably where the heart is. But like, he's unaffected, so you know, he's fine. She pushes him and she just runs off. When she runs out of the cave that they're in, she finds that they're basically in the middle of freaking nowhere. The script in this show is a little bit overboard for me. He insinuates that he's going to be taking more than just a first kiss and that she has nowhere to run, but she decides to run anyway and jumps off the cliff that the cave is on. So he flies down and then he catches her. She finds herself riding on his back. He flies to his castle that is surrounded by lava. The scenes are skipped. Alina finds herself in a bedroom. Some kind of maid comes to attend to her and she says that she has to go and see her grandma because she has frost fever. She can't stay here. But the maid just says that the Dragon King will see her tonight. The maid does say though that Asher will cure her grandmother's illness. Alina, she hides the dagger that she had under her pillow and she tries to find a way to escape. But then she notices, you know, that the castle is surrounded by lava. There's no way for her to get out. Then somebody named Iris Lawson, a dragon aristocrat who is the niece of Asher's stepmom. That's a fairly normal sounding name for a dragon aristocrat. Yeah, she storms in and she's like, what are you doing here? Because not even she is allowed into the Dragon King's chambers, which is where Alina currently is. I guess we've met our antagonist. So this Miss Iris and her maid shit talk Alina to her face and also slaps her in the face. She claims that she's going to be the one to marry Asher.
Let me make this clear. I am the one Asher will
So
marry.
Iris wants to test Alina to see if she really is Asher's fated bride, and she hurls a fireball towards her, but then Asher comes to the rescue and then he stops the fireball, and then the entire room sets aflame because Asher does that, and then he puts himself and Alina into like some kind of protective bubble. What am I watching? Asher makes them leave. Iris has a bruised ego, and I'm pretty sure like something else is gonna happen in the plot. He also finds the dagger that Alina hid under her pillow and he's amused. Now, if you thought that Asher was a saving a damsel in distress kind of guy from that previous scene, you know, perhaps. But then at the same time, he puts a ring on Alina's finger that turns into something that basically looks like chains around her wrists, and they have bells on it. It's a way, in his words, for him to find her, and also so that she never forgets who and where she belongs to. Talk about being controlling much. So then he asks her to get ready because like some ceremony, I'm assuming the freaking wedding is about to happen. Everyone in the entire kingdom, I'm guessing, is gathered for their union. He basically forces her to marry him. She's still trying to get out of this wedding and the marriage in general, and she says that, you know, he may marry her, but she's never gonna be his wife. And he says that's not the part that he needs. Obviously, because we know what he needs to break the curse. And then he brings Alina's grandma forward. What the hell? From asking her to run earlier, she's now so happy that Alina is being forcefully married. I don't know. Oh my god! If she doesn't say yes in 3 seconds, he's gonna execute her grandma, who's still standing there smiling. So she kisses him, and then he has the audacity to look shocked. So grandma doesn't get executed and she's walked away. After the wedding, Asher is like questioning whether a human girl is really the one. Like, don't you think you should have done that questioning before you forced her to marry you? Well, his stepmom reassures him that if she eases his pain, then she's definitely the one. Yeah, again, no shit. However, what we learn is that once he breaks the curse, because he is so strong as the Dragon
power is too
King,
much for her.
she will burn to
moment the curse
ashes. And
breaks,
Iris, his
she
step cousin,
burns
is the one who so helpfully gives him that information. Seems like he didn't know this before. Also seems like something very crucial that he should have known about his own curse, in my opinion. And
she's gone,
Iris says that
you'll need a
once
new
Alina
bride.
is gone, Asher is gonna need a new bride, and she's obviously volunteering herself. Now here's the thing, she actually touches Ash's chest and he holds her shoulders or her arms to push her away, and she doesn't get burnt. So what's the logic here? I thought everyone who touches Asher gets burnt like his stepmom, right? Forgotten detail because it's AI. So he realizes that it's gonna come to a situation where only one of them is gonna walk away alive. If they break the curse, Alina will die. If they don't break the curse, Asher will die. And he so brazenly tells his stepmother to get the grave prepared with Alina's name on it. Because yeah, obviously he's gonna save himself. It's nightfall and Alina, she is being led to Asher's chambers. Okay, and then the maid like strips her and what the hell? Alina is saying, of all people in the world, why would he want to pick her? She clearly doesn't know anything about the curse. She doesn't know what her role is. And before he can do anything, she manages to get her dress back on. To buy time, she tells Asher that she can't do it right now because there are people outside the door who are clearly listening to see if this union is going to happen. Gross. She puts in some bullshit story about how she always imagined that her first time would be more romantic than this. She asks for this whole thing to take place tomorrow, and he agrees. I have to say, I'm kind of invested in the plot now because I think Alina is a pretty strong character, very smart as well. She does give me main character of a Wattpad story vibes, but you know what? I think she's a diva and she's doing what she gotta do. The next morning, Iris is irritated because the servants are preparing some sort of special room for Alina and Asher to share, which is kind of weird that everyone can see that. Somebody named Charles Draven, who is apparently Asher's stepbrother, younger stepbrother, taunts Iris over the fact that she has to watch the servants prepare like a romantic room for the man that she loves. So Charles, he says that if Iris helps him, she can still become the Dragon Queen. Iris says that she's not stupid, right? Because if Alina dies, then Asher will die. But Charles says that if he were to ascend to the throne, then Iris would be his queen. One of the servants enters Alina's chamber and finds that she has collapsed. But actually, Alina was faking it so that she could escape out of the castle. But a guard catches her and tells Alina that if she wants her grandma to be alive, that she has to follow him. Meanwhile, the servant finds Asher and tells him that Alina is gone. The guards search all over the castle. It's called Dragonstone. How original. Sounds like something from Game of Thrones. They can't find her. Alina is gone. Remember how Asher had placed that, like those bells around Alina's wrists? So he uses that to track her, and she's actually being brought out in the middle of the forest by that guard. He explains that that forest is where they dump monsters that are really hard to kill. Another guard appears and then they push her around, and it seems like the two guards are new to Dragonstone, and they reveal that Lady Iris is the one who paid them, so they don't believe that she is actually married to Asher when she threatens that he's gonna kill them. They hurt her, she falls to the ground, she fights back like, yes, queen. Asher obviously comes to the rescue. So he gets her, they look at each other with like a forlorn look in their eyes. They actually use their staff to try and shoot Asher and Alina. He pushes Alina out of the way and he's able to protect the both of them because his wings can be used as a shield. He fights back, he cuts off the limbs of the two guards, and that's when a massive albino monkey rises from the snow. It walks towards Alina, it grabs a tree as a weapon, and it tries to smash it into Alina. Asher turns into his dragon form. He pushes this albino monkey away. Obviously, as a dragon, he's much bigger, and then they fight each other. It's an albino monkey with dreads. Asher obviously kills the monster, and then he checks if Alina's okay. Her face is pretty bruised up, and then suddenly it's not. He interrogates the guards to find out who sent them to kill Alina, and they spill that it was Iris Lawson. She had told them that Alina was just some servant. He makes them kneel and beg for forgiveness, which, yeah, they do, they're spineless. Then he condemns them to live in this forest forever. He brings Alina back to Dragonstone, and his stepmom pleads with him to spare Iris. She says that Iris was always destined to be Ash's queen, but she's being tortured in something called a dragon flame pit where she's tied to some kind of pillar and she's being burnt constantly. But you know, Asher doesn't show any mercy, but he did take Alina's request very seriously, and he smothered the entire room in white roses. He gets a cloth and some medicine, and you know, he tries to wipe off Alina's wounds. She has no wounds. It's a bruised cheek that appears on and off because it's AI. She tells him that she wants to see her grandmother because she's sick, right? She has, frost fever, right, Granny? And she wants to see her grandma. And then Asher says that Granny was never inside Dragonstone in the first place. It was an illusion. Apparently, dragons have the ability to do that. Okay, so no wonder Granny was so compliant during the ceremony. She tries to ask Asher again, why her? Why a human girl to be his bride? He dances around the answer, he obfuscates, he leaves, and then his chest starts to burn. I guess the curse comes and goes as it pleases. All when we're about to have a scene like the next one, where Alina goes up to him, she's wondering what's wrong, and then she touches him and it helps neutralize his pain. And then he forcibly kisses her and throws her into the bed, and she's like, what the fuck, man? Same. She tries to leave because she says she's not ready for this, and he begs her to stay just for a while. He just needs to hold her. Oh, I don't really like him. The next morning, when Alina wakes up, she overhears the Dragon King talking to one of his attendants. He cuts his palm and lets some blood drop into this sphere, and he tells the attendant to bring it to Alina's grandmother because it's gonna cure her completely of her frost fever. There you go. That's gonna be the thing that starts this romance, I suppose. Alina steps out. She thanks Asher for helping her grandma. Then he says, no need for the gratitude, it's part of our arrangement. He says that he'll give her 3 days to prepare. You know what? Prepare for what? One fine day, Alina's walking in the gardens and she sees a gravestone that has been prepared for Asher. His name is actually on it. And she questions the servant as to why that is even there in the first place. And then the servant tells her that it's Charles that created it. What the hell? Charles erected his half-brother's own gravestone. Apparently, it's a reminder for Asher that if he doesn't break the curse by next full moon, he's gonna die. And so Alina finally finds out that Asher is cursed. And that's when she also learns that she's the only one who can help him because she's a fated mate. But of course, nobody tells her that she will die. She goes to a place called the Dragon Rite Altar. She has like a whole self-reflection thing where she thinks like he's some obsessive, cruel kind of monster, and she realizes that, oh, maybe he's just trying to survive. And in this altar, you know, there's a bunch of, what are they, priests? They're all surrounding him. He's sitting in a circle. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. The head healer, warlock, I don't know, she tells Asher that he has to consummate the mate bond with Alina, which like we all already knew. Oh, she's a high priest, and Alina is actually right outside this altar, and she says that she wants to see this head priest, high priest. Asher goes and hides so that he can overhear the conversation. Nosy. The high priest asks Alina what is it that she's looking for. She says that she came to seek help for Asher, so she takes a gold wedding ring and hopes that it'll pay whatever price it costs to break his curse. Miss Thing, don't you think that the man who is cursed would have tried all avenues? I mean, the high priest just tells her what she needs to do. I feel like we're going around and around in circles, hearing the same bloody thing over and over again. She agrees that she will do what she has to do. The high priest creates a blood charm using Alina's wedding ring by putting a drop of her own blood on it. She tells Alina to give Asher the ring so that every time the curse takes hold, it will help ease his suffering. When she gets back to Dragonstone and finally bumps into Asher, she does give him the ring, saying that it's a lucky charm. She then asks Asher if she can go home for a little while, but before he can respond, one of the guards come up and say there's been a breach in something called the frost forest prison barrier. The guard who came to warn Asher about this breach somehow seems to know that it's Alina's grandmother's 70th birthday, and that is probably why she wanted to return to her home. I don't know how in the bloody hell the guard knows this, but I guess they needed to find a way to get this piece of information across, because Alina doesn't tell Asher. She just says it's no big deal and runs off. Asher tells the guard to prepare a boat so that Alina can go see Granny. The guard takes Alina to a boat that he summons out of lava and tells Alina that she must return within 3 days. We find out that the full moon is going to be there in 5 days. Okay, and Charles, remember Charles, the half-brother, he goes up to Asher's stepmom, who I thought is his mother, to say that as long as Asher is still alive, he will never ascend to the throne. And he said that it's their fault that Iris, her daughter, is in prison.
I won't make that mistake
They
again.
said in the introduction that Iris is her niece. What? Anyway, this stepmom says that Charles is the one who poisoned, her mind. He's asking, does she not want revenge for her daughter? What the hell is this? They decide to plot some revenge after all. She says that they both deserve death, and especially now that Alina and Asher are separated, they don't stand a chance. Alina gets to see a granny who looks like she has a heart attack the minute she sees Alina, but then the guard didn't give Granny the dragon's blood necklace. Oh, it's a necklace. Didn't give Granny the dragon's blood to make her feel better. Somehow Alina has it, so she puts it around Granny's neck. And then suddenly the lady who said that they'll never help the old hag, in the beginning of the show, comes in and slaps Alina in the face. Selena, her sister, half-sister, is also there. She's about to whip Alina, like literally whip Alina, when Diego, her sister's fiance, Alina's ex-fiance, stops his soon-to-be wife from hitting his ex-fiance. This is so fucking confusing, but yeah. And this Diego, he's like, oh, Alina, I know I messed up, but basically getting engaged to your sister. But now that you're here, stay. Let me make it right. What in the hell? My girl Alina just can't catch a break. We're like halfway through the show now. Almost immediately as Diego leaves, Alina goes out of the hut to go and get some milk for Granny when she overhears Selena and Diego talking about their master plan. Diego had lied to Alina to try and convince her to stay so that they can ship her off to die. Apparently the dragons had promised them gold that will last for generations. So it's probably Charles and the stepmom who concocted it. Alina is so shocked by the news that she drops her milk jug and starts running away. Somehow they outrun her even though she had a head start, and they managed to block her way. On the other hand, back in Dragonstone, Asher's stepmom puts some powder into his tea that makes him fall in pain. He's clutching onto his chest. He thinks that it's the curse that's acting up again. He realizes that she did something, so he slams her against the wall. He knows she basically poisoned him. He calls Iris her daughter as well. I thought that she is her niece. Also, I think he killed his stepmom. I don't know. I'm not sure. Alina's put onto a boat yet again. She is restrained, and Asher had told her before that if she was ever in trouble, she can ring the dragon bells that are around her wrist. So she does that in hopes that he actually can hear that. The whole freaking village came to watch Alina burn, by the way. Selena, who is somehow a master archer, grabs a bow, lights the arrow on fire, and aims it up at the sky, telling the other warriors to help burn Alina alive because they think that by Alina coming back, she has brought a plague. Diego stops her and says that Charles had never ordered for them to kill her. But Selena says if the Dragon King really comes, then they're all gonna die. And then they can just send a replacement, like another pretty girl to Charles. So the whole freaking village shoot fire arrows towards Alina. And of course, just as the flaming arrow is about to hit her face, Asher comes to the rescue. He burns everything. Oh my god, but it's not Asher, it's Charles. Okay. Whoops. He brings Alina and the boat back to the village. Everyone is running, terrified. He questions Selena and Diego why they were trying to like kill her, basically, because he had asked for them to bring her to him. But Charles just burns the both of them. He says that Alina is going to be his queen instead of Asher's. Charles is adamant that he could be a better husband than Asher. Basically, he wants to see Asher beg Charles to have Alina back. He breaks the dragon bells off Alina's wrists. Then he takes her back to Dragonstone. I did not think that I would become this invested in a freaking AI drama, but here we are, because while, you know, Charles is carrying Alina mid-flight, Asher, the real Asher, shows up and he rescues Alina after fighting with his brother. But Asher, who was poisoned at first and is now severely hurt by Charles, you know, he and Alina go crashing down. I don't know how the hell this will help, but Alina asks Asher to kiss her and then they can leave this place together while Charles comes down. Like, listen, what is the logic? Charles says that she's just wasting her time because the poison actually makes the curse worse, which is why Asher is very weak. But in a last-ditch effort, Asher still manages to defend himself, and then he and Alina fly back to Dragonstone. Alina suddenly has rose-colored glasses on, of course, because when she brings some medicine to try and heal some of his superficial wounds, she starts to notice certain things about him that she hadn't noticed before, like his physicality. Some naughty tension arises when she's trying to clean a wound that's near his hip. Alina says that she can't bear to watch Asher suffer anymore and that she wants to help him and she wants to break the curse like now. They say some weird things in the script that I'm not going to repeat out loud. Just think the kind of things that, you know, characters say in moments like these. I guess they forgot that Alina is gonna die. I mean, Alina doesn't know that. They're really saying some of the cringiest shit that I'm never going to say out loud. But she does say that she thinks she's falling in love with Asher. Then he's taken aback and he stops and he says, no, don't say things like that. Then he storms away. So, this is one of those things where if you watch my Teen Wolf video, you would know. Derek Hale says similar things. You shouldn't love me. You don't really know me. You know, crap like that. Asher goes back to the high priest. The high priest says that their magic cannot help him control the curse anymore. I don't really think it was doing a good job in the first place, but his condition is getting worse. He asks them to find another way because he wants her to survive, because obviously he's in love with her too now. But the high priest just says that, oh, you know, a human body was not made to withstand a dragon's power. There's absolutely nothing that they can do. Then he says that she's a high priest, so she needs to start acting like one and find another way. Oh my god, okay, I am so invested in this right now. Now the high priest says to herself that since he refuses to seek their counsel and to seal the mate bond, they have no choice but to seek help from his father. Alina thinks that she's been rejected because nobody has told her yet that she will die. She's just gonna sleep with him once to cure him, break the curse, then they're even, and then she's gonna leave Dragonstone. But then Charles, a very scarred up Charles, is still alive and he appears in front of Alina. And he is the one to tell her that she will die if she sleeps with Asher. Charles tells her that Asher doesn't love her and that he's just using her to save himself. Asher appears, of course, and throws Charles into a wall, tells him to stay away from Alina. How is he even allowed back into Dragonstone? I don't know. So Robert Lawson, Iris Lawson. I'm so confused now. Why does Asher's father have a different surname from him? What? Yeah, the high priest tells him that Asher's in love with Alina and Robert says that's not gonna happen under my watch. So he tells the high priest to make a fake potion to give it to Asher and say that they found a way to allow Alina to survive. The high priest is reluctant at first because she knows that Asher will kill her, but Robert says that she has his protection. Asher is given a vial by one of the guards who says it's from the high priest. Basically, if Alina was to bathe in that concoction. She will survive during and after the bonding ceremony. Alina is in Ash's room waiting for him. You know, every time we get to a new scene of his room, it looks different. Now, when Asher joins her, she asks the same freaking question that she asked in the beginning of the show, which is, he's a dragon king. I'm a human girl. Why would you even want to keep a human beside you? Like, Miss Thing, is that really the important part right now? You just found out that you're gonna die if you sleep with him, and your reaction and your question is asking why he wants a human girl beside him. Ugh. And she like pulls the manipulative passive aggressive sentence too, saying that, oh, don't worry, I'll leave. Like, then he basically confesses his love to her, and you know, she's happy, and then she says she's never been more ready for anything. He pours that vial of the fake potion into it. He doesn't even tell Alina what it's for, even though it's fake. So he brings her into the pool, and then she asks him if she will die. He says no, and to trust him because he thinks that he has that vial, right? And that it's gonna work. But like, in her mind, Alina is like, oh, you know, he's still lying to me, but maybe that's the way it's meant to be. Like, huh? And for her, she feels like if giving up her life will save him, then so be it. Thankfully, they don't show any very intimate moments, but I guess they get it done, and Alina is like dead, but like Asher can't tell, and he's still like proclaiming his love for her because he thinks that she's asleep. Then Robert, his father, and the high priest, they bust into his room and they say sorry, but she's already dead, and he's like holding her, and he's like, what are you talking about? Can he not feel that she doesn't have a pulse anymore? Because he then starts screaming at her to wake up, and then only does he check for a pulse. He starts crying, you know, begging for her to wake up. He thinks of the memories that they had. What was it, like 3 to 5 business days? Robert tells him that, you know, she's already dead. How can you grieve and be so weak over like a human? And then Asher becomes a bit delusional. He says that Alina's just sleeping and that she's gonna wake up. Honey, you felt there's no pulse. So Asher gets really angry, and not only does he attack his father and the high priest, he burns his entire castle to the ground. Okay, in any other show, I'd be a sucker for these kind of things. Asher passes out. He wakes up in another room. You know, when the first thing that he's thinking of is Alina. The guard had already returned Alina's body to her grandmother and told the guard to pass the message that Asher's not welcome to Alina's funeral. So, you know, Asher's so torn apart. Alina's lying in a bed in her granny's house. Granny's begging someone up there to take her life and give Alina's life back. And then 3 priests from the Dragon Clan arrive. They said that Alina's death is partly their sin to bear because they were all there and present when Robert told the high priest to fake the potion. So they came here to correct their wrongs. They cast some incantation to revive Alina, and then they find out that she's pregnant. She's pregnant with a half dragon, half human baby. That was pretty quick. It's a miracle that nobody has ever seen before. So yeah, they basically revive her. She's fine. 7 years later, oh my god. What in the hell? I was not expecting this kind of time skip. Seven years later, Dragonstone is somehow reconstructed. Asher, he's still dreaming about Alina. I guess she never went back to him. What? In some place that's undergoing construction, or what are they doing? Digging for gold? Willa, who is the daughter of Asher and what's her name? Alina, is running around. She found what? Yeah, Alina runs out, saves her daughter from getting smacked by the foreman. Why? The foreman kicks them out. What? How do we get to this point? It looks like one of those ads that you see in games where there's like a shivering mother and child in the cold, and then you have to like patch up the windows and all that. It's the same. It's literally the same vibes. Oh my god, what is going on? The foreman is still going on, he is hurting her and then trying to sleep with her and then he kicks her. Asher is in the vicinity. He had decided to visit this place, and Willa, she runs up to him asking for help to save her mom. And he just walks away. He ignores the begging child and he walks away. Then the child runs towards him. She falls, she starts bleeding, and then she cries and she runs towards him and then she hugs his leg. She's sobbing and she's begging, and honestly, he's kind of being a dick for not helping a young child. And he's like, why does seeing this young child cry hurt so much? Hello, any child crying like this should make you feel hurt. He sees Alina being manhandled by two men, but she's wearing a hood, so he doesn't recognize her yet. He carries Willa towards them. Alina's been pushed onto the ground. As he arrives, everybody bows, including the two men who are pushing her around. She turns and she sees that Asher is there, but she hides her face because she doesn't want Asher to know that she's alive and to find out about Willa. Why not? Oh my god, then this child turns around and calls Asher daddy out of nowhere, saying that you're what a dad is supposed to feel like. What? This show went from something that caught my attention to whatever the hell is happening right now. Alina's back is still facing Asher, and Willa is just, I don't know, she just keeps calling Asher her dad, okay? I mean, he is, but like, and then the guard is like, is it just me, or like, does Willa look like you? And then Asher has like a moment of potential realization. Alina speaks to Willa, saying not to call strangers daddy, and somehow Asher doesn't recognize her voice. Alina had told Willa that her father had passed away a long time ago. Asher basically fires the nasty ass foreman. Alina's gran is dead, by the way, because she and Willa visit her grave. I'm just gonna skip because, they start talking about ridiculous bullshit. And Willa, because she's half dragon, she actually has the ability to use fire. And that's when she finds a grave that has her mother's name on it. Asher had built it in honor of her. She faints when she sees a name, and then Asher walks up to the grave and he sees both of them there. This could have been done minutes ago. Yeah, he rushes forward, he hugs Alina, they have a moment, they cry. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't even know why we're here. He brings her to Dragonstone. Alina wakes up and she asks for Willa, and she goes on this whole tangent about how Willa is all that she has left. Hasn't he taken enough from her already? Like, she just wants her daughter. And then he goes on some roundabout bullshit about how he missed her, he loves her, he thought about her every day, he mourned her. Then he asks the important question, why did you not tell me that you were alive, right? And she says that it's because he killed her, which, like, facts. But then she says that he knew that she was gonna die and he still did it anyway. Like Miss Thing was saying in her head before that she was ready to sacrifice herself for him. Like, you made that decision, Miss Thing. So then he explains that the high priest and his father had deceived him with the vial, but she doesn't believe him. Finds out that the priests saved her and Willa all those years ago, but she has become very weak physically after being dead and then brought back to life. She tells him to stay away, and then she almost faints, and then he catches her and then they kiss. Very simple. He explains again about how his father and the high priest had deceived him with that fake potion. And we're back in circles of her saying that she doesn't believe him. Then he shows her that he's still wearing his wedding ring and her wedding ring around his neck. And he says that if he never loved her, why would he remind himself every day that she was his wife? He asks for another chance and he wants to take care of her and Willa. Willa comes running in, happy to see her parents, and they live happily ever after. There's that. And that concludes me watching my first ever AI short drama. It started out with some potential and then I got a little bit invested in the middle, but I think they kind of fumbled on the antagonist. I think that Iris, the stepmom, not stepmom, whatever weird relationship they have going on there, right? Charles. I think their scenes could have been a lot longer, more intense maybe. And then we find out the real villains are not even them, but like Robert and the freaking high priest. Listen, I was invested in the plot until we reached the point where it said 7 years later. You lost me then. Every scene after the 7 years later words showed up on the screen was an absolute waste of time. In my opinion, it was confusing, it was unnecessary. They should have just had the reunion immediately after she was brought back to life and lived happily ever after, find out that she's pregnant, yay, hooray, and then they're fine. We did not need that transition into 7 years later. We did not need to see their almost reunion and then their reunion and then them going around in circles again and again and again. I don't think I said this at the beginning, but this claim by the dragon has 1.1 million views. Let's see what people are saying in the comments, shall we? Best AI drama yet. Mostly full story, limited weird nonsense, great graphics, and actual ending. Well done. The comments are generally very positive. Oh, but someone says that they took the idea from the Russian movie I'm Dragon. Okay, I Am Dragon is a fantasy romance show that came out in 2015. It's an hour and 50 minutes. The synopsis on Google says that it's a movie that tells the story of Princess Miroslava. She's kidnapped by a dragon on her wedding day and she's taken to a remote island. She discovers that her captor is a mysterious man named Arman, who is actually the dragon in human form, struggling to suppress his beastly nature. I am actually very tempted to do a review of that movie, so I might, and then we'll do a quick comparison to see what the AI drama actually copied or what was inspired. Well, needless to say, that was not very good. I don't know if I'll ever watch another AI drama again. Maybe this time I'll watch one of those short dramas that have actual actors in it. We'll see if there's any difference. You know, I'm really curious to see what your thoughts are. Like, have you guys ever watched any of these AI dramas before? And if there's actually something good or like a guilty pleasure that you recommend, I'd love to know, because it seems that there are thousands of these available online. What this show made me feel though is that I'm grateful and appreciative of all the creative people that are out there in the world, directors, producers, writers, actors that make amazing movies and TV shows that we watch on a daily. It makes you appreciate the work that humans can do a lot more. Well, it seems that my teacup is empty and our kiki is over. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to my yapping. I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate you so much, divas. Until the next one, have a gorgeous day. Bye.